She said she needed to find herself. I let her. A year later, she found my letter instead and realized what she'd really lost, that we'd been together for almost 4 years. Lived together for 2. Engaged for 8 months. If someone had asked me a week before it all fell apart how things were going, I would have said, normal. Not perfect. Not cinematic. Just two people building a life. I'm 32, work in finance, structured, methodical, maybe a little boring. She was 29, a freelance designer, spontaneous, creative, the kind of person who could turn an empty apartment into something out of a lifestyle magazine. We balanced each other. Or so I thought. The breakup wasn't a fight. There were no screaming matches, no ultimatums, no third person, at least not that I knew of. It was a quiet Wednesday evening. We'd just finished dinner. She looked nervous, hands shaking slightly as she put down her fork. Then she said it. I think I need to find myself before we get married. I remember blinking, trying to process it like a math problem that suddenly didn't add up. Find herself? She had a career, a place, a fiancé who adored her. Where exactly was she lost? She went on, something about feeling trapped, about how she rushed into adulthood, and how she needed space to breathe. I didn't interrupt. I didn't argue. I just listened. When she finished, I said, if that's what you need, I won't stop you. Her eyes widened. I think she expected tears, maybe begging, some kind of emotional chaos she could justify later. But I wasn't going to give her that. She packed a suitcase the next day, took her laptop, her favorite mugs, her art supplies, left the engagement ring on the kitchen counter like it was a library book being returned. The first few days after were hollow. You don't realize how quiet a home can be until you've lived with someone whose laugh used to fill it. I went through the motions, work, gym, dinner, bed, like a robot rebooting. Then, exactly a week later, she called. I saw her name flash across the screen and felt that stupid jolt of hope that the brain can't unlearn. She was crying. Not the loud, dramatic kind. The broken, shaky kind that sounds almost childlike. I made a mistake, she said. I didn't mean to hurt you. I still need your support. Even if we're not together. As a friend. That word, friend, hit differently. After everything she'd said, after all that quiet destruction, she wanted to keep me in orbit while she found herself. But here's the thing. While she was finding herself, I'd been finding something too. The truth. Because 2 days after she left, I got an email from our joint travel rewards account. Someone had used our saved miles to book a flight. To Bali. 2 tickets. One in her name. The other, a man I'd never heard of. So when she called, crying and asking for support, I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't even tell her what I knew. I just said calmly, I understand. Actually, I sent something for you. You should get it today. She sounded confused. You sent me something? Yeah, I said. Check the mail. What she found inside would make her go completely silent on the call. The kind of silence that isn't confusion or guilt, but realization. When I told her to check the mail, I meant it. I'd sent the envelope the day before, express delivery, with her name written in the same handwriting I'd used on her birthday cards. Inside wasn't a letter, not flowers, not some dramatic goodbye. It was a single sheet of paper, a printout of her flight confirmation to Bali, the one she'd bought using our shared travel points. Below that, I'd attached a screenshot from the airline's account activity page. Right next to her name, Passenger 2, Mark D., the business mentor she once told me was just helping her with freelance gigs. And at the bottom, in calm black ink, I'd written just 6 words. I hope you find yourself there. When she opened it, I was still on the call. For a few seconds, I heard only breathing, shallow, uneven, then paper rustling, then nothing. The silence stretched out so long I thought the line had gone dead. Finally, a whisper. How did you? Doesn't matter, I said quietly. You said you needed space. I'm giving you plenty. She tried to backtrack, stumbling over words, saying it wasn't what it looked like, that she wasn't running off with him, that it was just a trip she planned before everything. I didn't respond, because by then, I realized she wasn't apologizing, she was negotiating, trying to rewrite the narrative fast enough to stay the victim. When I didn't bite, she hung up. That night, I poured myself a drink, sat in our half-empty living room, and just listened. The refrigerator hum, the faint ticking of the wall clock, sounds I used to tune out suddenly filled the room like white noise. There was no satisfaction, No victory. Just stillness. But for the first time in weeks, it didn't feel empty. It felt clean. Over the next few days, the story started to unravel, not through her words, but through silence. Mutual friends stopped texting. A few unfollowed her on Instagram. I didn't ask why. Then one of them, Dylan, messaged me out of nowhere. Bro, she told everyone you were being controlling and manipulative after the breakup. She said you guilt-tripped her about taking space. Then someone showed the group chat your email screenshot, the Bali thing. She lost it. Apparently, she tried to spin it as an innocent work retreat. Except the guy she went with had posted a photo from the resort bar, and she'd commented a fire emoji before realizing he'd tagged the location. She deleted everything within minutes. But screenshots travel faster than regrets. Still, I didn't say anything publicly. No gotcha moment. No revenge post. I just started untangling my life from hers piece by piece. Utilities, subscriptions, joint accounts, the storage unit lease. There's something liberating about paperwork. Every signed form, every closed account felt like reclaiming oxygen. A few weeks later, a mutual acquaintance texted, "Hey, I ran into her at a cafe. She said you went nuclear on her." I laughed, because all I'd done was tell her to check her mail. 2 months passed. Then, out of nowhere, another envelope arrived, this time addressed to me. No return name, but the handwriting was familiar. Inside was the engagement ring, the same one she'd left on the kitchen counter, now taped to a folded sheet of paper. Her note read, "I don't expect forgiveness, but you deserve the truth. I lied because I was scared, not of you, but of how much I depended on you. I thought I wanted freedom, but I was just running from myself. You didn't lose me. I lost you. No excuses this time. Just acknowledgement." I didn't write back. I didn't need to. I sold the ring a month later. Used part of the money to pay off a loan, and the rest to book a solo trip. Not to run away, not to heal, just to live. I remember sitting on a balcony in Lisbon, watching the street musicians below, and realizing something. Peace doesn't come when you win. It comes when you stop needing closure from people who caused the wound in the first place. She'd wanted me to stay a friend. But friends don't use your miles to fly away with someone else. Friends don't call for emotional support after detonating your life. I didn't get revenge. I didn't destroy her career or expose her. I just gave her what she said she wanted, freedom. And maybe that's why it hurt her more than anything else I could have done. Update 1. It's been 6 months since that phone call. The one that ended with her silent on the line and me sitting in an empty apartment that didn't echo anymore. I thought I'd be over it by now. I was wrong. Healing isn't a straight line. It's more like trying to walk on broken glass barefoot, slowly realizing it hurts less each time. After everything that happened, I moved across the city. I wanted a new routine, a new route to work. New coffee shops, anything that didn't remind me of her. The first few weeks felt strange. I'd wake up expecting a message from her, or find myself automatically opening her old playlist on Spotify before remembering why I deleted it. But distance does something beautiful to pain. It turns it from noise into background music. You don't stop hearing it, but it stops controlling the rhythm of your life. One Sunday morning, while I was out buying groceries, I heard a voice I hadn't heard in months. It was her best friend, Tessa. She was standing a few feet away, looking awkward, holding a basket full of fruit. We hadn't spoken since everything went down. She looked like she wanted to say something, but didn't know how. I decided to make it easy. "Hey, Tessa, how've you been?" "Good. You look different." "Yeah, guess peace does that." She laughed, nervous, then said the thing I wasn't expecting. "She talks about you, you know. A lot." I didn't ask her to explain, but she did anyway. Apparently, my ex had moved back in with her parents for a while. The Bali guy didn't work out. Surprise, surprise. He'd ghosted her a month after their trip. She'd tried getting her old job back, but word about what happened had spread, and her boss wasn't exactly eager to rehire someone who used a self-discovery trip as a cover for cheating. Tessa said she'd been different lately, quieter, less defensive, more introspective. She'd even started therapy. And then she said something that stuck with me. She told me she finally understands why you never yelled. She said the silence scared her more than anything else. That hit deeper than I wanted it to. Because the truth is, I wasn't silent to punish her. I was silent because I had nothing left to give. We talked a bit more, small talk, polite smiles, then went our separate ways. But as I drove home, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. Not even bitter. Just indifferent. And that's when I knew I was finally getting better. A few weeks later, I got an unexpected message on Instagram. A follow request from her. Her profile picture had changed. No filters, no healing quotes, no tropical backgrounds. Just her sitting on a park bench, wearing an old hoodie I recognized. Against my better judgment, I accepted it. Curiosity isn't closure, but it's close enough sometimes. She didn't message right away. Just watched my stories for a few days. The ones from Paris, from Lisbon, from random late-night cafes where I'd started taking photos again. Then finally, one night around midnight, a message appeared. "You look happy. I'm glad." That was it. No manipulation, no guilt trip, no "I miss you." Just a simple acknowledgement, like she'd finally accepted that her chapter in my story had ended. I didn't reply, not because I was angry, but because I didn't need to. Her message wasn't for me. It was for her, to feel like she could finally let go too. A month later, I ran into her by accident. It was at a small art exhibit downtown. I'd gone with a coworker, and she was there with some mutual friends. Our eyes met for maybe 3 seconds. She smiled, faintly, the kind of smile that says, "I hope you're doing okay." I nodded back, not coldly, not warmly, just peacefully. For the rest of the night, we didn't speak. And honestly, I didn't want to. Because for the first time, I didn't see the girl who broke me. I saw a person, flawed, lost, trying to rebuild herself, just like I had. And that realization gave me something that even revenge couldn't: closure without contact. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in a year. No notifications from her, no old memories clawing their way back, no more what ifs. Just quiet. I made coffee, opened my window, and looked out at the city, same skyline, but somehow it felt new. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without pain. And maybe that's what the whole check the mail moment really meant. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't even about justice. It was about sending back everything she'd left with me: the lies, the confusion, the unfinished sentences, and making space for something better. Not someone better, just me. Better. Final update that it's been a little over a year now. A year since that call. Since the silence. Since the moment she told me she needed to find herself. Funny thing is, I think we both did. Just not in the way either of us expected. Life moved on. I left my old job and took a position with a smaller firm. Fewer hours, better people, less of the constant pressure that used to eat me alive. I started running again, picked up photography as more than just a hobby, and even started volunteering on weekends at a community center near my apartment. It sounds cliché, but I became the person I thought she wanted me to be. Except now, I was doing it for myself. Somewhere along the way, I stopped measuring my progress by how much I'd gotten over her. Healing isn't a race. It's a slow remembering of who you were before someone tried to define your worth for you. And then, just when I thought her name had faded completely from my world, I got a letter. A real letter. Not a text, not a DM. An envelope, handwritten, with familiar handwriting on the front. It arrived on a Tuesday evening, tucked between bills and junk mail. For a full 5 minutes, I just stared at it. I almost threw it away without opening it. Almost. But curiosity, that old, familiar ghost, still had one last pull. Inside was a single sheet of paper, no perfume, no decoration, just ink and words. "Hey, I don't know if this will reach you, or if you'll even care to read it. I've been in therapy for months now, and part of the process has been taking accountability, not just saying sorry, but understanding what I'm actually apologizing for. I thought I needed to find myself. But the truth is, I was just running away from who I'd become. You didn't deserve the way I left. You didn't deserve to find out the truth the way you did. I saw the look on your face that last day we spoke, before I realized what you sent me. The ring, the photo, the ticket receipt. I still remember it all. It broke me. But maybe that's what I needed, to finally see myself through your silence. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I've grown. That I remember you as someone who loved me without keeping score. I hope you're happy now. Truly. L. I read it twice. Then 3 times. There was no hidden manipulation. No, let's catch up. No, I miss you. Just honesty. Quiet, simple, raw. And for the first time since everything happened, I didn't feel anger or pity. I felt gratitude. Not for what she did, but for what it forced me to become. That night, I didn't write back. I didn't tear the letter up either. I just folded it neatly, put it back in the envelope, and placed it inside a drawer. not as a keepsake, but as proof that even the worst chapters can end peacefully. Because forgiveness isn't about letting someone back into your life. It's about letting them leave without taking the best parts of you with them. A few weeks later, I was walking downtown, camera in hand, just taking photos of the city. It was a golden hour, that perfect slice of time when everything looks softer than it really is. I stopped at a crosswalk, waiting for the light to change, when I heard someone say my name. I turned, and there she was. Same eyes, different presence. Her hair was shorter now, a bit darker. She looked healthier, calmer. For a second, time did that weird thing it does in movies, slowed down, stretched out, like the world was giving us a final frame before the credits rolled. Hey, she said. Hey, I replied. No tension, no awkwardness. Just two people who used to love each other, standing in the same city under a softer sun. You got my letter? Yeah, I said. I did. Did it upset you? No. It helped, actually. She smiled, small, genuine, relieved. Good. That's all I hoped for. We stood there in silence for a bit. The kind of silence that used to hurt now felt peaceful, like the universe was saying, "You can go now." Lesson learned. When the light turned green, I nodded to her. She nodded back, and we both crossed opposite directions. And that was it. No cinematic goodbye, no grand speech. Just closure, walking quietly on two different sidewalks. I haven't seen her since that day. But sometimes, when I'm scrolling through old photos, I find one she took. A blurry shot of me laughing in the kitchen, trying to cook for the first time. I don't delete it. I don't hide it either. Because she's not the villain of my story anymore. She's just a chapter, one that taught me how to rebuild, how to stand still when everything falls apart, and how to love again without losing myself. A few months after that encounter, I met someone new. Nothing dramatic. We met at a photography exhibit, both reaching for the same lens display. She laughed first. I laughed second. That's how it started. She doesn't know the whole story yet, and maybe she never will, not in full detail. Because some things don't need to be retold to prove they're over. All she knows is that I once loved someone who taught me how to let go. And that's enough. Last week, while cleaning, I found that old envelope again. I looked at it for a while, smiled, and then did something I never thought I'd do. I burned it. Not out of anger. Out of peace. The paper curled and turned to ash, and for a moment, the flame looked almost beautiful. Like an ending that wasn't bitter, just necessary. Because sometimes, closure isn't a conversation or a text or an apology. Sometimes, it's a quiet room, a letter turning to smoke, and the realization that you're finally free. And maybe that's what finding yourself really means. Not running away, not starting over, just finally standing still and realizing you were never lost.